Hi, and welcome to one of a series of short discussions where I'm basically going on to celebrate the fact that I've now got 50 episodes done of Demystifying Mental Toughness. And Natalie was interviewed, it was a few weeks ago, wasn't it? So yeah, welcome to Natalie, who's a talented powerlifter and personal trainer. And
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
not a problem. And today, this is all about healthy lifestyles we're going to talk about, isn't it? And how we go on to actually create healthy habits. So, yeah, do you want to go for it and explain how you help your clients create healthy habits?
Sure. I think, creating habits is really just about getting that consistency. And then once you get a little bit of consistency, it becomes easier and easier and easier. And I also believe that it's easier to pick up bad habits than it is good. I find that bad habits are much easier to creep in than good habits are. But maybe that's just me. When I start working, is start to track what they're eating, start to track their movements, and start to really think about what it is that they're doing on a daily basis. And a lot of people don't track anything and they hate tracking. I don't want to track my food. I don't want to track my movement. And well, you don't have to, but we're going to get you there so much faster if we can monitor the data. Just like anything, if you didn't monitor your income versus your outgoings, you would probably be in a lot of debt. And we need to switch that into your food and your exercise. And then if we can monitor that and we can get the data, we're going to get you to your goal so much faster. And then when we get you to your goal, we're actually going to be able to maintain it rather than you being on this yo-yo roller coaster of unhealthy to healthy lifestyle, which is actually worse.
Yeah, it's so true, isn't it? How people just get busy, like sort of doing the exercises. But yeah, really, probably all you need to do is spend 5 minutes a day just making a note of numbers and tracking, and it can give you so much confidence and motivation as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just don't understand the power of the numbers. And then when they start to track them and understand what it is that they're actually doing with them, then the consistency becomes much easier because they see the results, they understand why it's important. And then because they see the results, like anything, it's easier to just carry on.
I suppose a lot of people won't actually know how to track and what are the best numbers to track as well in order to help them. So is that part of your role?
Yeah, definitely. So the majority of women that I work with want to lose weight and tone up. Probably about 90% of women, that's what they want. So we start off with just tracking their calorie intake for 7 days. Then we go a little bit deeper into tracking their protein. We also track their step count every day, track their exercise. And their exercise has become a lot easier now because we've got all these smart things. So what I get them to do is if they have Apple, I get them to link my Apple account to theirs, just on the fitness side. And every time that they complete a workout, I get a ping saying, so-and-so's completed a workout. So if they're due to do a workout, I can send them a message and go, why haven't you done your workout today? And I use my Fitness Pal to do all the tracking of the food. And again, I get them to link their Fitness Pal to mine. And if they're not tracking, I can just shoot them a message and go, why aren't you tracking today? What's happening? And it's not because I want to tell them off. It's because I want to hold them accountable. They've said that they want something. Well, you've hired me to keep you accountable to what you've said. So that's what I'm going to do.
I suppose it's quite similar to my job in that respect, where I might set different clients exercises or little challenges to do. And yeah, it's very easy, I suppose, if you just let the client do it themselves, that things won't get done. That social support's so important.
Yeah, definitely. I have an online fitness academy, which is a do-it-yourself platform, and it's for people who don't necessarily want or don't necessarily need the one-to-one training, but they need a little bit of guidance rather than nothing. And I find that my members in the academy, because they don't have the accountability every single day like my one-to-one clients do, then I kind of have to rein them in and go, you joined the academy because you wanted this, but you're not using the academy. Why not? And then that pulls them back into it and gets them back on track. But that's the difference between, a membership model and one-to-one coaching. And it depends what works for you.
I'm guessing in the conversations that you have with clients as well, you'll try and understand their like unhealthy patterns and the different triggers that cause them some challenges.
Definitely. It's so important. I think that everybody, even though there's so many sort of similarities for people's triggers, I think everybody's triggers are slightly unique to themselves, which I'm sure you find that too. And identifying them and then how to react to it is really important. And one of the things that I kind of incorporate is that I don't expect you to be good 100% of the time. But if we can get you to be healthy 75% of every day, that is so much better. That is so much more productive than what you are doing. Because a lot of people will go, oh, I've been on the ball today. I've been incredible today. And then the weekend hits and they're like, my weekend was terrible. I'm like, right, rather than having a terrible 48-hour weekend, why don't we focus on just having 75% of every single day be as spot on as possible? And then we can look at 25% of the day being a little bit of leniency, and then we can build on that. And that tends to work with a lot of people because breakfast and lunch, or while they're at work, they tend to be really good, really find it easy to incorporate those habits because they're in a structured routine. And then they tend to find that goes to pot when the kids are off school, when the husband's at home, when they've got to look at family meal times. And they say, right, okay, if we can get 2 of your 3 meals a day as perfect as possible, we can get away with that family meal not being great. And then we can build on that. And that takes a lot of pressure off them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I like the 80-20 rule or 70-30 rule, but obviously, yeah, you're going 75-25, which is fine. But what it does is it just cuts people a little bit of slack, doesn't it? Because it's so easy to then get in your own head and really, well, become your worst critic. So yeah. It's really helpful in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And, life is about enjoying it, and food should be enjoyed. You shouldn't have a love-hate relationship with food. You should enjoy food. It should be enjoyable. And again, I try and incorporate that into my planning and say, listen, I'm not here to tell you that you can't eat XYZ. I'm not here to tell you to cut these foods out of your diet. I'm here to try and help you to incorporate a healthy lifestyle, a healthy diet, and include all the foods that you love. So for me, I am a chocolate lover, and I incorporate chocolate into my day every day. Every day I incorporate chocolate into my day because it helps me to stay on track, and it stops me from craving, it stops me from binging. And if I can get my clients in the right mindset to say that there's actually nothing wrong with this, we've just got to monitor it and then see how effective it is for you as an individual, then we're on to a winner.
Yeah, I suppose then the difficult thing is there, if someone's belief system around chocolate or certain foods is different and isn't very helpful, that must be one of the tricky things you've got to look at.
Yeah, definitely. And I think there's so much conflicting information around food on social media, in the media, and that's where it gets really difficult. What I try and do is I try and clear the fog and the confusion and take people back to basics and say, food is fuel. There's no good or bad. There is better and more nutrition dense, but there's no good or bad. So if you fancy a cheat meal every week, great, let's incorporate it. If you fancy a little naughty snack like me every single day, great, let's just incorporate that. And as long as we can incorporate it into your calories and into your macros as a whole, we can still get you where you want to go with having those little treats. And it's not bad. It's the way that you enjoy food, which is a good thing. It's good that you enjoy your food, and we want you to do that.
Yeah, that's an interesting one you say, because once you start getting into labeling, again, that gets back and that feeds that inner critic, which I mentioned a little bit earlier. In terms of rewards, then how do you implement sort of reward systems for people that you work with?
Because I try and incorporate your treats or your cheat meals into your daily or weekly process. When it comes to rewards, I try and make it non-calorific. So I tend to work with ladies more than anything. So I'm like, right, okay, for a celebration, for a reward, what are we thinking? And they're like, well, I don't really fancy food as a reward because we've incorporated it into my program. So, okay, why don't you treat yourself to a little bit of jewelry? Why don't you've lost, a dress size. Why don't you treat yourself to some new jeans or some new gym leggings or something that you just haven't purchased, something that isn't going to take you a step backwards because there's no calories involved, but something that you do actually want.
Yeah, I suppose the reward isn't food related as well, and possibly isn't even like exercise related. That can be a good thing.
Yeah, and one of the biggest rewards that my clients go for is actually a massage. Because they are business owners, they're mums, they're really busy, and getting a little bit of me time for some self-care is usually out of the question. So I'm like, right, if you get this, you're going to book that massage and you're going to go and you're just going to say to your partner, I've got a massage, I'm going to be disappearing for an hour because of this. And that tends to be a really good one.
Yeah, then ultimately, yeah, they feel better for a massage at the end of the day.
They get some me time, they get some, mental clarity because they get a bit of space. They get forced into a position where they can actually relax, and their body actually gets rewarded from all the hard work that they've put in because their muscles are getting a good treat too.
I like that one. Do you find then when you're looking at fitness and trying to again get healthy habits, consistent habits going with fitness, that you end up advising people to change things around in terms of their environment from time to time?
Yeah, I do recommend it, but it depends on the individual. A lot of people only really feel comfortable at home, a lot only feel comfortable outside, a lot only feel comfortable in the gym, and it just depends on the person. But one of the things I get asked a lot at the moment is, should I purchase a treadmill? And I'm like, no, you shouldn't purchase a treadmill because you have the planet outside of your house, which is a treadmill, and it's free. Don't spend the money on a treadmill. Go outside.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand people who join a gym just to use a treadmill when you have the whole planet to walk on.
Yeah, no, well, I'm the same in that respect. I enjoy being outside as opposed to being in the gym environment, like especially with a treadmill. There's a question come in there. Would it not be better to remove the psychological fear factor or good and bad food?
Remove it. I think if you want to remove it completely, then that's not my speciality. So I would go to somebody who specializes in that. And for me, on my own journey, I've found when I've tried to remove something, it's not been sustainable. And if it's not sustainable, then it's probably not worth doing, because like everything in life, it's all about consistency. If you want to go on a dream holiday, you have to consistently put money aside to build on that. If you want to, buy a house, if you want to buy a car, if you want to do anything like that, it's all about consistency. And I think that food and exercise is the same. So if you end up creating a plan that isn't consistent, that isn't sustainable, it's probably not realistic, and eventually it's going to send you backwards. And for a lot of people, probably so far backwards that they end up not only putting the weight back on, but even more weight, and then feeling even worse about themselves. Where if we just acknowledge the fact that it's there and work it to their advantage and make it sustainable and enjoyable and guilt-free, then I find that works better for the ladies that I work with.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because you mentioned there about social media and magazines and things like that. That's where the label comes from, good or bad.
And we can't remove that.
Yeah, that's difficult. But in your own minds, I suppose it's just trying to shift that label, that expectation, that fear factor there. So you, like as you say, so nothing is good or nothing is bad. It's just food ultimately.
Yeah, and I think if you learn about how to incorporate your treats, or I don't know, your Achilles heel when it comes to food, if you look at how to best incorporate that in your life, then you can kind of get the best of both worlds, because you can get your treats and you can get your results as well. And who doesn't want that?
Yeah, I suppose ultimately it gets down to planning, isn't it? And considering what you like, so your dislikes, and then that can be around food and exercise, and then going on and doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And exercise especially, I think a lot of people don't stick to exercise because they don't choose exercise that they enjoy. They choose, I don't know, the latest fad or what they think is going to get them there the fastest. Where actually, if you pick something that you enjoy, you're more than likely to be consistent with it, and you're more than likely to keep showing up. And if you keep showing up and you're consistent, you're going to get there faster anyway, because you're going to be able to stay there too. Yeah,
that's true. And yeah, some people will prefer exercising in a social setting, some indoors, some outdoors. It's going to vary. Obviously, the people who prefer the social setting will have had a tricky time over the last 12 months. But hopefully that's going to change, certainly in the UK.
Yeah, it is changing at the moment. The gyms are a lot quieter at the moment than I would have expected, but outdoor sports seem to be getting busier and busier, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Well, Natalie, I really appreciate your time. It's been great to chat with you and tap into your knowledge and expertise. And I hope the listeners and viewers have picked a few nice little tips out of that.
Thanks very much for having me.
Not a problem. We'll see you later.
Bye.